Hey Gators, and welcome to Module 10. So we're leaving behind tactics and all the different ways that attacks can occur from terrorist actors, and we're moving into terrorism occurring in a different part of the world. So for Modules 10, 11, and 12, we're going to be studying terrorism in Europe, Part 1, 2, and 3. Now I want to take this moment to say a special hello to my European Studies majors that have enrolled in this class. You've been anxiously awaiting this material to get deeper into it. Although we have looked at Europe and international terrorism all throughout the class, this is more of a focus on European terrorism. So other students might be asking, why are we doing this? I'll tell you. In this module, we look at some of the many attacks and attempts to deal with terrorism from a European perspective, and it's relevant and important to study because, unfortunately, several European countries have a very long history of dealing with terrorism. So for a few examples, Northern Ireland and the IRA, Spain and the ETA, Italy and the Red Brigades, Germany and the Red Army faction, Russia and the People's Will and the Black Widows, in addition to several Eastern European countries. So this perspective will allow us to better understand why terrorism occurs, how they organize and operate, and what some of the consequences are of reacting in different ways to terrorism. So there, as with any study in terrorism, you have successes and you have failures, and we're going to be looking at some of these attempts, just like the United States has. But it's really important to look at this perspective. So I'll go through a little bit more information and then share with you what we'll be doing in this module, specifically your activities, go through the tabs and give you some suggestions on preparation and how to go about it. So with the Palestinian Black September group's attacks on the 1972 Games in Munich, the Olympics, mentioned by Bruce Hoffman, this is when terror, in his sense, became truly internationalized. And a lot of that has to do with the media, right? We just spent a good deal of time studying media's influence on terrorism. So in contemporary times, these terror attacks continue to occur in Europe, and we'll study some of the more recent ones. And these are now mainly attributed to global jihadism. The most prominent terror attacks have happened in countries like Belgium, France, the United Kingdom, and Germany, so mostly Western Europe. The result has been robust counterterrorism operations, bolstered legal frameworks, which you will do a great deal of reading about in this module, and comprehensive social anti-radicalization programs, and we're going to talk more about that in Part 2. So simultaneously, international efforts to defeat and destroy the Islamic State or ISIS and like-minded groups operating outside of the Middle East and Northern Africa is a top European priority due to the direct links to terrorism on European soil and some of the cells that are operating in these countries. So this photo that you see inside Module 10 actually comes from a media campaign in the UK. You're going to see this photo again in an activity later as a part of Module 11 or Part 2. But this is some of how we're doing some campaigns that are counterterrorism campaigns in Western Europe. So our objectives are to really do a comparative analysis both historically and contemporarily, but in European conflicts where terror has been a key element, to analyze and apply recommendations for the use of intelligence, the role of digital media, looking at these anti-radicalization initiatives, and explore how special military forces work in these countries. So for our Think About It question, some people have challenged social anti-radicalization programs as moving toward the censorship of free speech and freedom to assemble, while others say that no, this is reacting toward extremist behavior and when people are demonstrating an intent to harm others. So you have a lot of tension with privacy, with security, and the tension is even more emboldened in Europe. So if you've never been to Europe, you know privacy is an entirely different matter in Europe than it is in the United States. It's much stronger, and people fight for it much harder. And I got that experience firsthand when I was in Europe as well. So for our readings, we're going to be looking at the European Union as an actor in the fight against terrorism. We're going to look at lots of different laws and as they apply to this threat. And then our videos for this week are obviously the overview of the module. We're going to be looking at a brief PowerPoint where I show you the current landscape of terrorism in Europe and the statistics of attacks that have occurred, particularly in the last 10 years. And then you have a really awesome film called Terror in Europe, which shows you really where we're at with dealing with attacks on European soil. And then finally, surprise, surprise, activities. I don't have a quiz for you this week. I don't have an assignment for you this week. You've worked exceptionally hard completing your second exam and also doing a lot of assignments and readings. So I thought I would give you a week off. So you actually don't have anything to turn in this week. You get a break. However, make sure you finish the material for Module 10 because it will be covered on the final exam. So make sure you watch the films, you do your readings, and you take notes because you will need that for the future. All right, so that is essentially your introduction to terrorism in Europe. I hope you enjoyed the module and good luck.